The Phoenix Suns got screwed, but they also have to blame themselves for a loss in Toronto. There's a lot to be mad about, but what exactly is the worst? We're going to break it down on the PHNX Suns postgame show coming up right after this. Psychos and sickos unite for a Firk the Roofs edition of the PHNX Suns post-game show as the Suns lose to the Toronto Raptors 122-115. I'm Eric, that's Gil. We got Espo, Steven, and the freckled Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen as the Phoenix Suns did not pick up their fifth straight victory and collapsed in the fourth quarter to the Toronto Raptors on the road. There is a lot to talk about with this game, so please hit that like button because it's not our fault that they lost. Hit that subscribe button, become a member, and settle in because boy, oh boy, is it time for a nuanced conversation about this game. Gentlemen, though, no matter which way you slice it, and we're going to slice it a couple of different ways, completely unacceptable loss today to the Raptors.
100%. This is a game that you had in hand. You had to take care of your business, and you didn't do it. And it cost you. And it's the kind of night where Minnesota could go out and lose, and you could have been in sixth, and you're going to look back and go, double-digit lead in the fourth, didn't do what it took, and you failed on multiple levels. It's the refs, it's rotations, it's missed free throws, there's a lot of things tonight, book shot selection, there are a lot of things that can be blamed tonight, but the bottom line is you blew a game that you had in hand, and it's going to cost you in the standings in a tight West.
Anytime you have a double-digit lead in any game, sure, but in the final frame in the fourth quarter, that is the one that hurts the most. So those are the ones that hurt the most. Those are the ones that you wish that you could have back, and this is too late in the season to be saying we wish we could get that one back. So that's the most disappointing part about this game is that you had it. It was a matter of executing and making a couple of more plays to put this away. You weren't able to do it. You lose.
I'm mad. I'm not a happy camper right now. And look, we're gonna talk about Jordan Ott's decisions for closing lineups and rotations in that fourth quarter. We're gonna talk about Devin Booker's turnovers and fouls in the fourth quarter. We're gonna talk about the Phoenix Suns offense completely stalling out, and gotta give Toronto credit as well. There is an elephant in the room, and I'm not talking responding to KD on Twitter, because this game was not completely decided by the referees. But if you cannot acknowledge that despite all the other things I listed off beforehand, that the, let's call it atrocious officiating in this game at least impacted it, I don't know what to tell you.
It's one play that I think was the real atrocious call. It was when Jalen went up for that dunk, and it's pretty obvious he got hit on that, and it should have been free throws. That's the most atrocious thing to me. Otherwise, they were letting a lot go from both sides. I can be okay with that. But when you get down the stretch and it's so obvious and a guy gets hacked when he has that open of a look, Steven, to me, that was the egregious part for the refs.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. I think the other part that I think about is the free throw situation, which you spoke about in detail on our watch along.
So yes, there's this play with Jalen Green that we have here, where not only is Jalen just completely hammered by Scottie Barnes driving to the lane and going for a two-handed dunk, and we could talk about maybe what Jalen was going for, but he was grabbed, by the way, while he was driving. So there are two fouls committed on this play, one on the grab, and the next one he's driving to the paint, and he's getting absolutely mobbed. This is a bad non-call from the refs. He was not only hit across the arms here, but he was hit in the head. Okay.
Yes.
Big moment for sure.
That's the most egregious.
And it's bad. And it's bad, and it's an egregious call. It's a live ball play, right? Sometimes you miss live ball plays.
I don't have as much of a problem.
The free throw thing is atrocious.
Because they were attempting to call timeout
the ball was in his hands.
But one of the assistants was trying to call timeout before he got the ball. Like, that one doesn't bother me as much. The foul on a live play that's as obvious of a hack that should have put him to the free throw line is the bigger one to me. That one is in a key, crucial point in that game that changed everything. Because if he gets to the free throw line, he makes 2 free throws, we're talking about a different game. Instead, they foul him, they get the ball, they score, and it's essentially lights out at that point.
Porque no los dos. Because it's seriously both. Because they were talking to each other about trying to call timeout, but it's up to the head coach to call a timeout. Devin Booker had his head down, dribbling the basketball at the free throw line, and they said stop. Literally, he's about to take the free throw, and they blow the whistle.
Yeah, that is
atrocious.
They did wind up getting the call right because it wasn't free throws. It shouldn't have been.
But again,
it
shouldn't have been out. Am I crazy, Gil? Am I crazy? Because there's no way that Devin Booker should have not been shooting free throws in that possession with where we were in the game and when that challenge was called.
You're crazy, but not about that.
No,
but seriously, I understand why you're upset about that. I'm perfectly sitting in the middle because I understand where both of you guys are coming from, because I said it in the moment too. And Devin Booker, you could read his lips, he said, what are we doing? Because he had the ball in his hand, and you would think that just that they didn't get there fast enough. And there's a replay or whatever, and that's just a matter of personal decision on whether or not you saw them. But who's to say whether the ref saw it and acknowledged it? Because whoever passed Devin Booker the ball didn't see it, and it is what it is. So I understand the frustration as far as that goes. And then in tandem with all of that, these things all happen basically around the same point of this moment in the game. So where the Jalen Green, Scottie Barnes situation happened, and we saw him make the play. But on the same token, though, there are some things that he could have done better in that moment, like quick finish. If you can't see Scottie Barnes in your rear view, you can't feel his steps, understand there's a shot blocker probably behind you. And also, I doubt that he can't see him or feel him because he grabbed his waist. So he probably knew Scottie Barnes was behind him. So, get to the basket real quick, get to the backboard with the offhand layup, or finishing, like you said, just go straight with one hand. That's a small tweak right there. Obviously don't want to take responsibility away from the officials all the way, because it's their job to make these calls and regulate. And I don't want to hear that, oh, well, you're not going to make this call late in the game. If it's a foul with 7:27 left in the first quarter, it's a foul with 35 seconds left in the game.
Well, especially that's not a close call.
Right.
That's a full-fledged. It's obvious at 100% speed. It'd be obvious on a replay that was a foul. That bothered me. But that's not what cost them the game. They shouldn't have been in the situation where that actually impacted the game as much as it did.
That's why I want to give y'all the floor to do that, because that's just not my cup of tea. I don't disagree with anything.
Take another sip of the tea first.
Go ahead, go crazy.
Okay.
Go crazy.
Because I agree, and that's the thing is we are going to talk about a lot of things, and if you watch the watch along, we pointed out way more than just the officiating, but I do feel like when stuff like this happens, people get in an either or mindset. And I can see it in the chat, and that's fine. And I see it on social media, and that's fine, where it's either one thing, the refs completely cost the Suns this game, which is not true, or another thing, which is don't blame the refs. It was all on the Suns, because I get that there were a lot of things the Suns could have controlled better, but we're talking about potentially between those two things, the Devin Booker free throws, which he was at the line, and the Jalen Green missed call, we're talking about 4 points in a game that would have absolutely have mattered if those 4 points went to the Suns. So yes,
you're assuming they make the free throws, and that was another problem.
We didn't even get to the point where we could have seen that. So that to me is we got to acknowledge here that there's a lot of stuff the Suns could have controlled, and that's what we're really going to dive into for the majority of this podcast. But at the end of the day, missed calls that late in this close of a game on the road that could have directly cost the Suns 4 points are absolutely influential on the outcome.
I will say this though, if Book gets those free throws, then Raptors fans are saying the same thing on the other side, because that would have been a blown call. It was not free throws. He was not in a shooting motion. So if we're going to sit here and complain about their calls, they did wind up overturning it to get the right call there. As much as it pains me to say, because I'm a Suns fan and I don't want them to get that call right in that situation because it benefited the Suns, the reality is they did wind up getting the call right. He shouldn't have been at the free throw line anyways. He wasn't in a shooting motion.
The problem is not that they overturned the call. That's not the problem.
I get your point, but I'm saying Toronto fans would be having the same complaint on the other side.
I'd much rather than be having it than us.
I get it, but you can't sit here and complain that Jalen didn't get that call and then be pissed that they took the ball away from Book to review the play to get the call right, because they got the call right there. And that's my thing there is, okay, they overturned it and got the call right. And if we're going to be pissed off about Jalen, if Book had gotten those free throws, Toronto fans would be saying the same crap on the other side of it. So I don't know. I think it's hypocritical to get so upset about that part.
No, I think the part that I'm upset about is that the ball was in his hands when they took it away, not that they overturned it. Like, that's the thing is, yeah, there are missed calls, there are messed up calls. Like, we could be mad about it. That's sports, right? Fans are mad about different things. Everybody thinks the refs are against them, right? That's just the way that it is. It was not a shooting foul in Book, but how many times have we seen a call not be a shooting foul still get called? Like, that happens. It's not about, okay, they reviewed it and they turned it over. That's not the problem. There's a procedural thing. Once the ball's inbounded on a play, once the ball's given to the player at the free throw line, that's it. It's over. You missed your window of opportunity, whether you're right or you're wrong. That's just the stone cold fact of the game. So
I still think it was too close. And, we have one very small shot of what was going on at one time. We don't know if the ref saw the coach call timeout in a shot that we didn't have. Like, we don't know that. All we know is they wound up getting the call correct in the end.
And all we know is that at the end of the day, the Suns lost. And it was not just the refs. Steven, if you were a doctor and you had to diagnose why the Suns lost this game, what would your result be?
It was a lack of alignment.
Wow.
That's the
brutal.
And I say that because I think coming into today's game, we saw some of the best fourth quarter defense from the Suns in the last maybe 3 to 4 games. Then we've seen that outside of maybe a couple of other pockets, pretty much the entirety of the season. And they fell out of alignment. They stopped doing the things that got them that was a lot more emphatic that time. They lost their feel for what got them the lead that they were working with to begin with. I think one of those is obviously some tough shot making, but independent of that, because that is a part of it, it's the defensive side. Playing off of stops, controlling the tempo of the game, speeding the game up, upping the pace in terms of possessions, but also the score to heights that Toronto can't reach if you're playing the game on your terms. They lost that feel for the possession battle. They lost that feel for the terms that the games was being played on. I think it felt like it happened in that window where Jalen checked out after he scored 7 points, and then Rasheer checked out for obvious reasons as far as the minutes total goes and just how long he was in the game with the small ball unit. It can't be that you lose your hot hand and you lose your defensive wrench at that moment that shifts the tide of the game. The guys coming in have to do a better job of upholding that in the ways unique to that lineup. Also, Jordan Knott has to do a better job of pressing the right buttons within that. You got to course correct at times, and sometimes you got to go off script with what the rotation is that you maybe want to go to at a specific point in the game because it's asking for something else.
I think they made a mistake in particular not going back to Rasheer.
Yeah, that's my big thing too. That's my big thing.
Like once you felt that defensive side started to slide, I would have brought him back in. Or I know maybe you don't trust man yet, but you needed some size. I think this better be a learning experience there, and one that if you run into the same kind of situation, you correct.
And I feel like this is one of the instances where they felt the absence of Dillon Brooks because naturally, Rasheer is off the floor. Dillon's probably coming in there in some capacity. He can also help to bridge that gap of offense where you didn't have the tough shot making of Jalen in tandem with bringing the things that Rasheer does or was doing tonight on defense.
It felt like there was the big issue of how do you solve the Brandon Ingram problem. And tip of the cap to him, 7 points in the fourth quarter. RJ Barrett had 9 in the fourth quarter as well. those guys were making plays, and we were sitting here talking about. I mean, there was a play where Royce played about as good a defense as he could play on Brandon Ingram, but this Brandon Ingram is, the player that he is, getting to his spots. You just got to kind of live with that, and that's what the big thing I felt like somehow. And you mentioned that one stretch in the fourth quarter, the Suns went from playing the game on their terms and being proactive and kind of setting the tone to very quickly falling behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like they were scrambling and trying to find things and trying to find the solution in real time, and the Raptors were continuing to execute.
Mm-hmm.
So while the Suns are trying to figure out how to stop the bleeding or try to figure things out, the Raptors were in their flow, and that's why the fourth quarter was such a dominant showing from the Raptors in this game. And I think that especially in a game where you led by double figures and you had figured some things out and you got those big performances from Jalen and Devin through the first three quarters, you should not have found yourself in that position. And everybody holds a piece of blame. And I think that's why this game and the outcome of this game is so disappointing, aside from it just being a loss. The fact that the terms of it were swung basically with the snap of a finger.
Yep.
And it comes down to me, I think Royce made that three to put the Suns in the lead. I think that might have been their last lead of the game. Then Book had the three where he kind of forced. Royce missed another open three,
Mm-hmm.
and everything had kind of fallen apart at that point. And I think it all started with the Raptors changing things over.
You absolutely have to press the small ball button in that. We talked about it. Like, yes, go small. When Oso was getting in foul trouble, Oso wasn't really having a great game tonight. It was what small ball lineup they went to. I get it. Rasheer Fleming, his career high is 23 minutes. He hit that tonight. He also played that last night in the first night of a back-to-back. Maybe his win's not there. Maybe Jordan Ott doesn't trust him to continue to play over that because he's hit 23 a couple of times this season. He's never gone above it. In this game, with the type of impact Rasheer Fleming was having against this specific team, you've got to let him rock out at least the last 2 minutes because he had sat for a couple at that point. If you're not going to put Rasheer Fleming in the game, I think Royce O'Neal played great defense on Brandon Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put somebody else on him. If Haywood Highsmith is there, we saw a rep where Haywood Highsmith guarded Brandon Ingram, and the same thing that Brandon Ingram did to Royce O'Neal, he did to Haywood Highsmith. Haywood made him miss because he just had a longer wingspan and was able to get into him. I think Devin Booker deserves a lot of blame for this fourth quarter as well. Multiple fouls, multiple turnovers in big spots. It did kind of feel like he let the refs get in his head, and the refs were allowing a lot of physical contact on Book the entire game. And we have seen at times during his career that he might get flustered and frustrated, start jawing with the refs, start going back and forth, and get taken a little bit out of his game. As good as Book and Jalen were tonight with another combination of an immense amount of points, when it came down to it at the end, they were not good enough. And I think Booker needs to shoulder a lot of that blame because he was certainly not good enough in the fourth quarter for the Suns to put this team away.
Well, he struggled when Jalen came out. You could see when Jalen came out in that fourth, Book started to press a little bit. They were focusing on him more defensively. That's where some of those turnovers came. And it felt like by the time you went back to Jalen, you couldn't find that rhythm again. And that was to me the biggest thing that kind of got Book out of rhythm along with the refs. And he kind of went into that. He kind of just tried to go hero ball, couldn't quite get it. The defense was extremely effective on him, and the ball didn't wind up moving. It seemed like he couldn't get it out once he got it, and then he was making bad shot choices. And that's going to happen from time to time, but it happened in the worst possible situation tonight.
Yeah, this was very much a playoff style scenario. Not atmosphere, not urgency in terms of playoff implications and win or lose and go home and all of that fun stuff. But you're looking at a team in Toronto that has the size that many teams in the West can replicate across multiple lineups. Different style of play from the starting unit with Pirtle up to touch that screens, but usually getting back in the drop and protecting the rim versus Mamukelashvili and Battle coming in and they're switching everything. So the nuance in that part, and then the other part is the tough shot makers. So you have guys that whether you're down 12, you're down 2, or you're up 4 in the fourth quarter, you have some guys that you're comfortable getting the ball to, and they know how to get to their spots and just make shots. We saw that, to your point, Gil, between R.J. Barrett as well as Brandon Ingram. And I think that's the size dynamic that is why I've held so highly, not just having only Rasheer, only Royce, and only a guy like Haywood Highsmith in the rotation. Now, I'm not saying you go and you throw Ryan Dunn in that mix, But this is why having multiple options to bridge gaps over the course of a game to keep that type of length and activity and athleticism on guys like that is very important.
I struggle with the sheer decision, Gil. Not going back to him. I understand he was at a season high minutes, but another 2 minutes to win a game that is important shouldn't matter that much. He was the better shooting between him and Royce tonight. He was the better defender between him and Royce tonight. It'd be one thing if Royce were shooting 7 of 8 from deep, on a tear like he was the other night. He was 2 of 9 tonight. So you're not even getting the offensive advantage of having him out there. That really bothered me from Ott tonight.
I was expecting to see him come back. I think all of us were expecting to see him get a couple, because when Brandon Ingram was in that takeover mode where it wasn't even the buckets every time, it was just the attention that he was commanding at that point when he got the ball and he was getting to his spots. It felt like, again, Brandon Ingram was in that type of mode, so he was scoring over everybody, but I think that he wasn't getting as far down the lane, into the lane and into the paint, getting 2 feet in the paint, hitting the turnaround jumper when Rasheer was guarding him. When he had more length to try to get around, we saw Rasheer have a couple good defensive stands. And the other thing I was thinking about as well, very small things. So I think about one of the buckets that he made where he spun back middle. I was like, send a second guy, send a second guy. The second guy came at that point where he got where he wanted to be. At that point, it was the Brandon Ingram turnaround time. Like, if that second guy is there, maybe at the elbow, maybe as he was approaching the elbow, maybe he kicks it out and you force somebody else to beat you. And honestly, I know that the Raptors had capable players and guys stepped up, but you want to live with somebody else beating you and not Brandon Ingram with 36 in this game. And that's why, in a lot of ways, it did feel like a playoff game, as you said, Steven, because, all right, this team was not necessarily known for their shooting is going to shoot over 50% from three. How are you going to react? What do you have? How are you going to maintain composed? Who's going to step up for you? What stops are you going to dig deep and get? And ultimately, the Raptors did more than the Suns.
Well, yeah, and part of the reason why they shot 52% from deep is because the Suns were a little lazy on some of their closeouts throughout the game, whether it was on a fast break or whether it was in a half-court offensive set. Like, there were a lot of wide-open threes for Toronto tonight, or at least it felt like it. And if you're a team like Toronto who's not a good three-point shooting team, well, you're at home and you're wide open. You're going to skew higher to your end on your margin of shooting. I think there's a lot that we can continue to get into this game. We'll have to talk about some of the good with this game eventually. I know that it's tough when there's a loss to talk about the good for some people, but
it don't have to be.
There are a lot of good things that happen in this game.
Have to be.
And there are some other decisions that I think we need to unpack as well, like somebody who didn't play. And we're going to talk about all of that on the other side of our first break. Look, today's result for a March basketball game, not great, but March basketball is super fun because there's this little tournament that's out there in college basketball, and Sling TV gives you access to the games with more control about how and where you tune in. Check this out. Sling has flexible 1, 3, or 7-day pass options, and that means instant access to live TV for the men's and women's tournament. You can get a day pass starting at just $4.99, and Sling is celebrating the chaos that everybody loves about the tournament. They're making it more fun to root for the underdogs. This year, if you purchase a pass from Sling and any 12 through 16 seed makes it to the round of 16 in either the men's or the women's tournament, your next day pass is just $1. Get signed up at sling.com/underdog, and if an underdog wins, you win too. Live TV your way. Learn more at sling.com/underdog. No purchase required. To learn more and see the full rules, visit sling.com/underdog.
Got to tell you about our friends at the Arizona Lottery. At Suns love threes. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But if you guys want to get in on the action, you can triple your fun with triple themed games from our friends at the Arizona Lottery. Triple themed games are all the rage when it comes to their scratchers. You can play 3 exciting triple themed games from the Arizona Lottery: triple red sevens, triple cash payout scratchers for a chance to win a top prize of $100,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Plus, triple red sevens fast play has a progressive jackpot at $30,000. I've played these guys. They're a lot of fun, and I won in both cases already. So, it's not guaranteed that you will, but it's a lot of fun to do it. I'm a big fan of their scratchers, and you can pick them up at any Circle K as well, so you can support another one of our fine sponsors as well. So find all 3 tickets at a retailer near you and have some fun with it.
Thank you all for venting with us on the PHNX Suns post-game show. Suns 4-game winning streak snapped in Toronto on the second night of a back-to-back. They got 2 days off, and then they're taking on the Boston Celtics for the second time this season. And at the end of this road trip, they're taking on the San Antonio Spurs, and next Thursday, will be out at Gila River Resorts Casino's Wild Horse Pass. Suns versus Spurs at 5 p.m. Pregame at 4:30. We'll be there even before that. We'll hang out, have food and drink specials. We're just going to have a good time watching one of the most important games for the Suns for the rest of this season against a potential playoff opponent. Go to gophnx.com/events to RSVP for free to be entered into our raffles. Once again, gophnx.com/events.
And we have one new sponsor that I want to bring up: therapy. You all should consider getting some.
Yeah.
sometime.
Well, that's what
lot of anger, a lot of interesting takes tonight from the chat.
we are.
Interesting's a good adjective. to use.
Interesting.
Amazing Devil is preaching in the chat though right now.
I agree. I
don't know what
there's-
Maze is saying in the
There's
chat.
a lot that
So he said a lot
Okay.
from what I've been able to see, but he's basically was saying Jordan Knott can be a great coach and have a bad quarter.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was also saying something about, I forgot what the other part was, but that was the main point that
A lot of stuff I saw too.
There's a lot, yeah.
And that's the thing with Jordan Knott, where he's been so good this year. I mean, just did a whole show talking about his Coach of the Year candidacy. He has been a good coach like 98% of the time. But there have been moments as a rookie head coach where we have disagreed with the decisions. Now, here's the thing. We all agreed that they should have gone small ball because Oso wasn't working, and you're not going to put Kaman in that situation.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. I would have.
You would have put
considered
Kaman in?
at least a
That's a
little
tough
earlier
situation for Kaman to
earlier
be
in
in.
the fourth. It may not have been for those final 2 minutes, but I would have tried something different because his size could have helped. And Aiden, no, I'm not actually not talking about you.
Aiden, I'm
in this
talking about
situation,
you.
But I would have at least potentially tried it when we saw that it just was not working with Oso there before. Maybe I committed fully to small ball the rest of the way. I would have considered it.
The interesting thing tonight about the rotation, and I'm kind of surprised that Man got that one stint. He played 4 minutes and that was it. But we mentioned it last night that Ryan Dunn was the first person off the bench, and DNP CD tonight. Didn't see Amir Coffey tonight either. So it feels like there's like some master plan at play that obviously we don't necessarily know or understand as far as that goes, the rotations, but very surprising. And I know that more guys were made available tonight, and today was a Haywood game. He was the healthy DNP CD, or healthy, so to speak, yesterday. Grayson was unavailable yesterday, but the variance and the shift in thinking about the replication of skills that they're trying to get amongst these players and the problems that were being presented to them by a Brandon Ingram, by an RJ Barrett, I'm kind of surprised that even when we talked about, if it wasn't Sheer, even seeing some of those other guys get some moments. You mentioned Ryan Dunn earlier, Steven, and even Amir Coffey didn't even really think about the fact that he didn't play, but he's been providing quality minutes as well. So I recognize they're trying to figure some things out on the fly. There are going to be a couple more bodies and a couple more players they're trying to get back incorporated in this, but it was just an interesting approach, I would say.
You guys know how many assists Devin Booker had tonight?
Zero.
First time that he's played a full game and had 0 assists since November of 2021, and the first time since 2017 that Booker had 0 assists with at least 5 turnovers. Kellen pulled those stats.
Now, context-wise,
Thank you, context.
true to my nature, there were a handful of times where guys, in particular Jalen Green, were the recipient of secondary assists that come from Devin Booker being the guy that gets that first domino to fall. So Devin Booker gets to a trigger, makes a pass off of the attention that comes from whatever spot he got the ball at, whether that was in the post or just in pick and roll, holds two to the ball in some capacity. He gets off it. That's not a direct assist. So it's not that he wasn't playmaking. He just didn't have any passes that led directly to a shot. And I want to make sure a distinction is understood with that when we present stats like that.
He should still never have a game with 0
But
assists and 5.
that being said, this was not a good game on the playmaking
Yeah.
side from him. At
Like,
the
and
same
that's the thing.
time,
It's like okay, like
100%.
3 assists, 4, and then the turnovers
But
too.
I just don't want discourse to go and say, "Oh yeah, he was a ball hog. He only looked
Sure.
at the basket
No.
today." Like all of that.
And
stuff.
they need to hit
Yeah.
their shots off of book
course.
passes too. But like it, he should never. He's too good
For
to have
sure.
a game with 0 assists,
sure.
5 turnovers.
For sure.
Yeah.
I do feel like he missed a few rollers over the course of the floor of the game, especially in the 2 middle quarters. Now, granted, those quarters, the Suns, oftentimes him, still found a way to put the ball in the basket. But I do think that in some of those pockets, when you can get someone rolling and get some downhill pressure outside of Jalen getting there, that kind of helps to blend everything together for your team offensively.
He kind of botched that lob to come
Yeah,
on
that was
he
another
had
good point.
as well. There were passes there to be had, but I'm pretty sure a few of the Royce misses from 3 were off book passes too. But yeah, you can't have 0 assists. And you can't, if you're going to have 0 assists, you can't have 5 turnovers to go with
for
it
sure.
either, because that swings thing. Again, not the only reason, but one of the reasons that you wound up blowing this game.
You want to talk about good things, or do we want to keep?
No,
going
can we
bad
talk
things?
about free throws?
Yeah, I think that's the one last thing. 21 of 30 from the line, so 9 points left at the line in a game that you lost by 7.
And Oso with 5 of those misses.
Yeah, 1 of 6 from the line for Oso.
Lock him in a gym and make him shoot 1,000 of them, and make at least 500 of them before he can leave the gym.
No, we're
Can I
not.
say something about free
I'm not
throws?
here
Yeah.
to talk.
I think
Go ahead.
You want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not one to usually say too much about free throws, especially in a game where the Suns shot 30 in regulation. But Jalen Green having 34 points and all of the rim pressure that he did provide for them and the pressure he put on the Raptors, and he had not a single free throw attempt.
Well, that's crap.
I will just leave that there. But I just wanted to make that a note in our conversation we're having.
That's fair. Well, I was going to say, and I get complex about free throws a little bit. I think, obviously, I don't think anybody ever is going to make all their free throws. I think that's unrealistic to expect a team to shoot 100% from the line. So I usually say, like, if you make half of your misses, that's better than, and that's 5, let's call it 5 of the 9. And also, you're a team that shoots like 70 something, 77, 78 from the free throw line. So, yeah, they should have made, on average, they would have made 24, 25 based on that, which does change the outlook of this game. But the big one is, yeah, also goes 1 of 6. One of them was an air ball. And that's the biggest thing, where it's a way different game if he is just a 60% free throw shooter as far as that goes. Trying to think about that being a little bit better, because I can't really be mad at Book for just missing 2 of his 11 attempts, or Grace for missing 2 of his 11 attempts. But the 5 that also missed loom extremely large, and that becomes a bigger conversation about, well, if he's going to be on the court, he cannot be that kind of a liability.
Probably closes tonight if he shoots above 65% from the free throw line.
Well, I mean, yeah, even 50. Like, I'm not greedy.
Just
Like, when you
take
get
3 for
6, make at least 3 of
That's
them.
fair. Because, I mean, that would be what his averages, right?
Don't airball either.
Well, and if you think about it, even 2 additional points that he makes earlier in that game changes what's
Especially
going
the
on down there.
timing,
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
Gil, I have a question for you as a player, right? Because and I think Espo said it, and I think it's a feeling that I felt. I think it's a feeling that a lot of fans have, just not for the Suns, but of basketball, where it's like, why can't you make free throws? You're a professional athlete. Go practice your free throws. Isn't it like more mental though, where it's like you could have Oso Guidaro locked in the gym and shooting free throws? He's probably shooting above 80% from the free throw line, but then when it gets into a game, there's a different type of pressure.
It is very mental, and I say this as somebody, my last year playing, I had the yips or something happen. I think I shot like 30% from the free throw line. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to tell, but if you ever look my stats up and you see it, yes, I did that. I'll own up to that. But it got to the point where I'm like, I'm not leaving the gym till I make 10 in a row. And you're doing all of this, but when you get into the game, you start thinking about all the work and stuff instead of just thinking about stepping up and making the free throw. And I think that's the mental part that you cannot replicate when you're working on it. And the other part of it, your legs are tired. You've probably been running for 3 or 4 straight possessions. You might have gotten hit hard on your shooting hand, or you might have gotten hit hard on the quad, or whatever it is. And all these things are kind of happening when you start thinking about the best free throw shooters, like a Steph Curry or a Devin Booker or a Grayson Allen. It's just the repetition of you're doing the exact same thing every time, and you're probably having an empty mind. You find whatever you're focusing on is the back of the net, and you're shooting towards it, and all of a sudden, 18,000 people, you don't hear them screaming. Whatever pain that you were feeling in your quad or your hand or your shoulder isn't really there anymore. And ultimately, you remember right away what you did wrong to make you miss. I think that's the biggest difference between a good free throw shooter and not. They quickly fix what went wrong on that miss. But other guys, you kind of don't know what's going on. Is it the way I'm aiming it? Is it the way I'm bending my knees? All of that stuff. And I think that's where the mental part goes with the physical part of being a good free throw shooter.
I understand a bad streak, and I think and the yips and those kind of things, but we know Oso is just a bad free throw shooter. He's a bad shooter in general. So, that's frustrating, and I understand that's part of it. Again, not greedy. I'll take 50, 60%, and I'll feel all right with that. It's when you have a night like tonight where it directly impacts the team as a whole, and it directly impacts your ability to remain on the court at the end of a game where your team needs you.
I got two things that I want to add. And they're both from different like pockets of the conversation. To the free throws part, this is why, and this is a whole other conversation, but with like trainers and things like that, like shooting free throws is definitely an important part of your development. But I think the way that free throw shooting is baked into whatever it is your training process is matters a lot. So are you just saying, okay, I'm shooting 25 free throws in between working on ball handling and working on finishing? Guess what you're never going to do in a game? Shoot 25 free throws in a row. You might at most shoot 3 free throws in a row. After that, it might be 25 minutes of real time and 30 minutes of game time, or it might be something crazy where the next time you get a shot, especially for someone like Oso, like a true shot, is only going to be at the free throw line. So I'm not saying anything specific about Oso, but just a larger free throws in your skill development conversation. I think that's something that people can clean up with how they're baking that in so that it's more simulated to what a game might be with a specific player. To the Oso part, this is why Mark Williams matters more than people are giving him credit for, because for things independent of Mark himself, just his presence, though, allows for Oso to be himself. Now, all of those things that Oso can kind of be more comfortable doing because he has someone that he's basically breaking the minutes in half with at this point before Mark Williams got hurt, that half is not there anymore. So now you have to overextend. Initially, the minutes where Oso was at the 5 were really good. Everybody was, well, not everybody, but a lot of people were saying, man, maybe he should start. Maybe he should do this, that, woo, woo, woo. That's not quite it. There's a difference between being a full-time starter and being someone that can play starting minutes and close a game for a team. That's why the team part matters a lot.
One thing I'll say, and a big part about, you said, Espo, he's just a bad free throw shooter. I think he's 49% on the season. And I think when it's that bad and it's never really very good for a player, you get back to the basics and just break it down. It's a form thing. And you like ask, okay, has anybody ever done it and figured it out? I want to say Andre Drummond went from like being like perpetually like a 30% free throw shooter. I think he's shooting in the 60s this season, which isn't great, but it's so much better than what it once was. And he's shooting threes. And if I were to sit back and say, hey, guess what? Oso's going to shoot 65% of the free throw line next season, everybody would take that. So I think the big thing is, at some point, it's not going to happen during the season, but at some point during his player development arc, he can add that and break it down and fix some things. And what we know about him, I'm sure he's receptive to whatever he can, because I know he doesn't want to cost the team games by that. And he didn't, and he's not the reason that they lost today. It had a hand in it, but I think that's a big thing I expect him to add at some point in his career.
The future becomes the present. Rick Barry was the one that used to shoot granny style, and it is a proven way for bad free throw shooters to improve, but pride will not let guys do that in the NBA. I think it's an embarrassment thing. So.
This makes me wonder what Oso shot in high school from the free throw line.
Have you seen him shoot in high school though? Like he has a normal jump shot. So we need to find whoever did that to him. Ayrton, I need you on the case. I need you to get the connection with the connector and figure out who messed up his jump shot.
Somebody call what, Desert Vista? Was that? Where
I think that's where he played.
74% his sophomore year at Marquette. So.
Speaking of,
so he can do it. So something fundamentally broke.
He's put on a lot of muscle too. Is something that I'll say compared to last year's. Put on a lot of muscle. I think his body has changed a lot, and he already had a weird jumper. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. At the end of the day, he's just got to hit more free throws. I know it's lazy analysis, but that's just kind of what it has to be. You're a professional athlete in a big spot. We get into a play-in game, playoff series, and you're missing free throws. You are going to have a lot less minutes than what you could probably earn outside of those free throws. So something to monitor. Let's flesh out just a couple of more bad things here before we get to the good stuff.
Colin Gillespie?
Yeah, Colin had a bad night tonight. Back-to-back, not great nights from Colin. He was their blue-collar boy a couple of nights ago. He did some good stuff on the margins as well, but not good offensively, just 4 points last night. Tonight, 0 points, 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. Not a great game from Colin Gillespie. And also, if we want to talk about bad things, maybe the decision to only play Kaman Malawach 4 minutes when you're running a 10-man rotation. And also Ryan Dunn not getting any minutes either. I know it's, revisionist history, but you'd like to think maybe against a Toronto team, Ryan might be the type of guy that could help you with a couple of minutes on a Brandon Ingram, even though he's not too tall himself. He is one of your better POA defenders that you have.
My thing with Colin, and I know we talked about it last night because we gave him blue collar for saying, hey, these are all things that he can do when he's not being the scorer that he was on Sunday against the Hornets. But the 3 shot attempts, and I pointed out he only took 6 shots last night. It kind of feels like, and I don't know, but the Book Green pairing starting to flourish so much. Colin is trying to figure out where he fits in with the scheme of all these things that are evolving around him. And I trust and believe that he will. But even if it's just getting a couple more up every now and then, he's got to be more of just, we talk so much about guys being a threat, we have to worry about even one of those drives, like bump somebody, take a bump fade. Like you've earned that point. Like I don't think anybody on the court is going to be mad at you for getting that and going to get yours. I understand the thought of deferring when your guys are hot, but there was a point down the stretch where it really could have used like a boost. And I thought that I said this during the watch along. I was like, look, if anybody can have a big fourth quarter, I think it's Colin Gillespie, and didn't see him do much. So hopefully I see him turn that corner with the Celtics coming out on some Monday.
Steven, is that something where having him in that starting lineup is making it tougher for him because he's now with Book, with Green when they're cooking, and maybe you find more of those opportunities if you're with that bench unit or only on the court when it's one of Book or Green. So he has a little bit more opportunity. The way I think they kind of envisioned this originally.
To start games, yeah, I think Jordan does a good job of making sure he's with one of those guys, and it's not always he's on the court with both of them just for shot diet purposes and the way that kind of gets distributed once you get into the rotation. But I do think that is playing a little bit, and I think also the other part too is Grayson being in and out of the lineup. That's shifting the role constantly for Colin in particular within the 5 guards or 6 guards, if you throw Goody in there, that are consistently eating up the minutes within their rotation. I think there's a little bit of that's kind of wearing down on Colin. We've seen it in pockets before that recent hot streak of shooting. He was also on a little bit of a low once Jalen initially came back because of the changing in course of roles and what the demands are with that.
I'd like to see Rasheer Fleming start the next game, and I'd like to maybe give Colin a little bit of a breather and have him come off the bench. It does feel like we're pretty set in stone with this starting lineup, though, because if you're not going to do it against the Raptors or against the Bucks, these teams that have a lot of size compared to what you're trotting out there, it kind of feels like this is what we're going to be starting with until this team is healthier.
Yeah, until Dillon's back, and obviously Mark slides in at center, but I'll be fascinated to see what they do when Dillon's back. And how they adjust at that point.
You ready?
You would hope that happens sooner than later so you can get some rhythm with what your rotation is before the games are as meaningful as they'll ever be.
10-man rotation, playoff rotation tonight.
15 games left.
And despite what some people might like to think, there were some really good things in that 10-man rotation.
There's a lot of good things to talk about.
And damn it, we're going to talk about it, Steven, on the other side of this break. Speaking of good things to talk about, Gila River Resorts and Casinos is bringing Vegas vibes to you, to Phoenix. I'm talking exclusive concerts, extended DJ sets, chef-driven dining, pop-up bars, and surprise cameos. Hell,
surprises.
They're bringing Snoop Dogg out there to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And you know who else are bringing out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos?
Chippendales.
Well, yes, but us.
Oh, yeah.
Two separate entertainers.
Not doing the same thing.
No, not doing the same things. Again, next Thursday, Gila River Resorts Casinos Wild Horse Pass. It's Suns, it's Spurs, it's PHNX Suns out there for our second to last watch party of the year. And on top of all of that, you can win a brand new Corvette. At all 4 of their locations are giving away 4 different Corvettes, 4 chances to win big at the end of April 27th, 28th, 29th. You can qualify and you can win a Corvette. Up until then, for more information, visit playatgila.com. Don't miss your chance to accelerate into luxury. Play, earn, and win at any of their 4 casino locations, and we'll see all of you out at Wild Horse Pass next Thursday.
Boys, when we do go out there and do the Chippendales thing, we're going to need a place to put all those ones. You know where we could do that? With our friends at Mountain America.
I think you're just trying to summon
unions. All right, let's do that with one of their My Style checking accounts, because that's going to make your money work a little bit harder for you. Restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access. You're going to get identity protection, which I don't know anybody that wants to be me, but maybe you guys. Loan rate discounts, which helps all of us in this world right now. Offers on travel and events, not that we get any time off, and more. Make my style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle. Apply, insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration activations. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Striker in the chat says, I'm calling this a night. I love this podcast. Don't lose hope on the Suns.
Agreed.
Thank you, Striker.
Is it evening or is it night?
It's 8. This is night.
It's night.
We're
I'm
night.
joking.
No,
I'm
we're at
joking.
night now.
It is
It's always
11.
night.
It's
It's night.
11 where Gil's family is. That's
My
definitely.
mom, my dad.
We have a little bit more negativity we gotta flush out here. $9.99 super chat from Riddle and completely fair negativity. Says the Suns lost because the offense got stagnant with too much isolation. They missed open shots, the defense allowed easy drives, and once Toronto took the lead, the Suns rushed their possessions. I thought it was very well said.
100%.
Riddle. Also with a $1.99 super chat saying, Oso, a.k.a. Shaq, on free throws. I wish Oso was Shaq. Maybe one day. Maybe next year.
If you're averaging 29 and 10, it's a little easier to deal with the free throw.
What did Shaq say? I made them when they counted.
I'll say to the
Nah.
offensive.
Shaq didn't make him when they counted.
Oh no, he didn't.
No, I'm sorry. That's according to Shaq.
I know.
According to Shaq, yeah. To the
Unreliable narrator.
To the offensive point, though, that is definitely something that has my attention. There's going to be some growing pains with using a new small ball lineup, and I think this is kind of a blip in that process because first 2.5 games that we saw them use a little bit of it, it's been seamless that their offensive rating is like what would be the best in history. Obviously, a super small sample size, but that's how good that lineup's been when they take a center off the floor completely, and it's Rasheer and Haywood Highsmith at the 5. The issue is when you don't have someone that's a traditional screener in that, now who's doing that? What's the cadence and rhythm like with that? Is it a lot of one-on-one play? Is that one-on-one play leading to pull-ups, or is it a blend of pull-ups and paint touches that lead to shots, or at least getting a domino to fall that allows someone else to get a drive? It felt like after Jalen scored those first 7 points, they lost that love and feel offensively in the small ball units. That coming in tandem with the non-negotiable side, which is defense for those small ball units. If you're taking a ball out the net, then you have to go up against a set defense, and you're still trying to find your way. That's a little bit too much, and that's that kind of gray area where Toronto did what they did as a team that is solid.
Well, it's interesting, too. It's not just when they go small ball. We've seen this Achilles heel
sure.
a lot
For
with
sure.
this team is that the ball stops moving in a fourth quarter, and that's where things go sideways, too. So just a weird amalgamation of things tonight.
Rushed is a great word, and the growing pains is a great way to kind of sum it up because it did feel like there was a little bit of a level of panic, and it wasn't a sense of calm that you would have if a team had the familiarity of when we're in the situation, this is what we do. Because as much as we've seen Devin Booker and Jalen Green start learning how to play off of one another and learning how to cook, situationally, we still haven't seen them in these types of situations. And you honestly have to see all of these different things to know how you're responding. Okay, what are we doing in a game when we're trying to mount a comeback? What are we going to do in a game when we had the lead, but now the answers that were working earlier aren't anymore? How do we find these on the fly? And I think that's when you see this team have maybe they're too high of a sense of urgency where some things happen. I think about the 3 that's forced. I think both Book and Jalen Green had some 3-point attempts that might have gotten a better look offensively. So that's a part of the process, and it's just tough that those lessons are being learned in losses, and these losses are coming with 15 games left in the season, but it's just a matter of fact where this team is.
Let me kick off Positivity Hour with big picture. What a fantastic playoff-like rep for the Suns. I mean, the atmosphere at Scotiabank Arena, no free ads, was incredible. They were loud, like really, really, really loud, right?
That wasn't manufactured sound either. That was
real sound. That was not getting pumped in.
Yeah.
No, so this is a great rep because it's a great learning experience. You know what you did wrong. It feels like it was pretty clear from us. I'm sure the coaches, who are much smarter than all of us, are going to really be able to diagnose this over the weekend. Go to another playoff-like atmosphere in Boston on Monday and see if you can respond and get one back. That's Positivity Hour number 1. for the last 10 minutes. Here's Positivity Hour in the next 10 minutes, number 2. Our Dew of the Night, presented by Gila River Resorts Casinos. You do you. At Gila River Resorts Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details. Tying his career high in three-pointers made, 8 of 16 from the field. Sorry, from deep. He was 13 of 25 from the field, 34 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. It was Jalen Green, but he just got outdone by Stryker, who didn't just become an MVP, became a Hall of Fame member. So we got to chant Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame.
Stryker gets access to a Jalen Green emoji, of course, gets a badge next to their name, a prepaid super chat for every month that you re-up, plus exclusive content as well. Lots of reasons to become a member here on PHNX Suns. But Jalen Green had another fantastic game tonight, and he does deserve a lot of credit for it.
Yeah. Against a good team.
Jinx.
You go.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
Pass to you.
Okay. Yeah, Jalen continues to be one of the pieces that when the Suns are getting their offense rolling in this recent stretch, he's probably, if not every time, is the piece that is starting that. He's getting everybody in a groove and a rhythm that now they can start playing their game. Even helping Devin get to that point. Obviously, Devin doesn't need the help, but in the grand scheme of things, you need more than just one person that can do the things that Devin does. Jalen presents that, and I think the impact on a defense that his style of play is having is what's really important for them when they're going up against teams that can do a lot of different things or might have different advantages than the Suns do as far as size and athleticism and all of those things. Jalen's playing very well. He should have had more free throws baked into what his game template was tonight, and that's not by his doing, in my opinion. But just in general, he played a solid game, had more defensive moments where he was solid as well, which I think is equally as important to all of the bucket getting and tough shot making that he's doing on the offensive side.
Yeah, he's averaging over a steal a game the last 6. He's had good hands and aggressiveness. Like I know he didn't get that dunk, he didn't get the foul at the end, but it was the right play. He was heady and was aggressive with it, and we're starting to see him make sense there. He's starting to understand, if I can get going early, it's a good thing for this team, and he's found a way to do it and has been pretty efficient with it. It's all these signs are extremely encouraging with what you're seeing with him. Now it's about, okay, can you be consistent? You don't have to be 30 points, 25 points every night, but can you consistently be above 20 and be fairly efficient?
That's exactly what I was thinking as far as raising his floor.
Yep.
And it's understandable that your floor is lower when you're coming back from serious injury in the first major one of your basketball career, not just your professional career. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the ceiling, career high tying 8 threes, second straight 30-point game, but understanding that the more comfortable he gets, he's not going to do this every game. Hopefully, it'd be great if he did, but understanding like what a bad Jalen Green night looks like, if that's still 16, 18, 20 points, the efficiency might be off a little bit, doesn't get a couple things to go. And the big one you talked about a little bit, Espo, the comfort, the trust in his body and himself. He had the in and out, and it finished with the dunk above the rim, let out a big yell. And that was such a big play for us to see from Jalen Green because he's not second-guessing things anymore. Yeah. And that is what we saw so much when we were worried about him coming back and being himself again. So I'm very encouraged by that, and then the confidence in the shot making.
28.8 points per game on 63.3% true shooting over his last 5 games. Good. But we know that Jalen Green has always had lots and lots of highs as a player, but if his highs can be higher and his lows can become higher as well, then he's a completely different player than what Rockets fans were talking about. Any other thoughts on Jalen's game tonight?
The ISOs and the drives are all significantly up in this window of games. That's not by happenstance. I think he's healthy. He's confident. He's very much in rhythm and in sync with what the offense is for him, but also what he can do for the offense from the periphery at times. And I think that balance and attack and understanding how to pick his spots is what's making this offense so good. And I think he's the stirring point of what's making the offense go with the small ball lineups as well.
I also liked had some really good passes, and I wound up with 4 assists. It seems like he's starting to build a little chemistry with that, understanding where guys were going, and he crashed the boards. He had 5 of them.
One more note in the shot making. When you said that, Steven, I thought about the leaning 3 he made kind of on the left wing. Then he had that leaner in the corner inside the arc. And back to the whole playoff basketball point, when you're playing whoever you're matched up with in a play-in tournament situation or playoff situation, they're going to be guys, really good defensive players, tasked with making life difficult for Devin Booker and Jalen Green. Devin Booker's probably going to see the better of those two guys, and Jalen Green is going to see somebody. But the ability to get buckets like that, teams are going to be searching for answers and having to kind of scramble to figure things out. So it's pretty good to have two guys capable of making shots like that.
Yeah, combined tonight, how about a nice 65 points? I know that we were very critical of Book's game. He was 10 of 20 from the field, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, and 2 of 5 from deep. He had a very, very efficient offensive game, and what I loved was, and we talked about this on our watch-along, which we do for every single game if you're new around here to this channel, is Jalen Green came out hot, and then Book kind of closed the end of the first quarter. Then Jalen Green started that second quarter, again, really hot, and then Book came in. They both closed that second quarter, and Book kind of put it on him there. And so they have found this natural rhythm with themselves where it's not your turn, my turn, but it is sometimes like, hey, this is Jalen's time, this is Book's time, let's find a way to kind of get each other going. Would I like to see some other guys get a little bit more involved with that? Sure, but it feels like every night it's been somebody different. You had Colin, who dropped 20 with those two a couple of games ago. You had Rasheer the other night drop 16. You had Grayson tonight drop 15. You had Royce have back-to-back really good games. So when Dillon's back here, it might just be let those three cook and then just hope one more player gets hot. That could be your offense for the game as long as you lock in on defense. So really enjoyed what I saw from those two as far as shot making goes in a game that I think they both can still learn a little bit from.
But they definitely, absolutely, desperately need their bigs to get involved in the game. And I think that's continuing to be something that, in the absence of Mark Williams, rings loudly.
Mm-hmm.
Having that from the perimeter is awesome, but that balance and that feel that comes with having somebody that can put some pressure on the rim, just in roles and kind of being a presence down there outside of Jalen and sometimes with Devin and Grayson and Colin, that is very, very important for a team that is already kind of struggling on the size side of things.
Yeah, Devin's game in the box score looks extremely efficient. There were some questionable things in the fourth, like not hitting a three for me. Thanks a lot, Devin, missing my bet there. But yeah, it's tough because you look at those last few minutes and you leave really frustrated because of it. But then you've got what 30 other minutes that Book played in that game that you liked what you saw from him. You saw the kind of guy that would manipulate the offense like we know he can do, and so you kind of leave with that tainted feeling. But again, effective getting to the free throw line too. 11 times he was efficient, like you said, Gil, making 9 of them. It's just that those last few decisions that leave you not feeling good about it, but when there were so many encouraging things about it.
Can we get to our Love the Play presented by our friends over at Arizona Lottery Play and Gift today? I know that we were going back and forth of this on the watch along. For me, the Love the Play was a love the sequence, and it was from our blue collar boy of the night, aka Rasheer Fleming, who in one sequence alone had back-to-back blocks on Brandon Ingram and then capped it off with a 3 made tonight. He was 3 of 3 from deep for 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 offensive rebounds, and a steal. That was one of the more encouraging flurries that we have seen from Rasheer Fleming. That's my personal love the play.
I'm right there with you. That chase down block was spectacular. In fact, he gets back, he gets rewarded with that 3. That's one of my favorite things in basketball, when a guy makes a great defensive play and the energy, the whole thing, brings it back to him on the other side and rewards him with a great shot. That definitely was my play.
My favorite part of the chase down on Brandon Ingram was you can watch the replay. Ingram's like, where did he come from? Yeah. And like the league in real time is learning. Other players are learning about Rasheer Fleming, but the people who enjoy consuming basketball as a whole are starting to see that, hey, Suns might have gotten a steal of the draft. They got a steal in the second round. They got this guy who is living up to the 3-and-D archetype, but way more than just that, and is a guy who is impactful and a game-changing type player. So when Rasheer looked like he was out of the frame and out of the play, and then used that wingspan to get his second block on Brandon Ingram, and Brandon Ingram like looking in real time, that'll be a defining moment that we'll look back to in his career becoming who he's destined to be.
My favorite part about those blocks is that they came with the small ball lineups on the floor. Usually teams have small ball lineups on the floor. They struggle with rim protection. And part of that is because they don't have the size component. But the other part, which is the significantly less glamorous side of rim protection, is they don't have guys that are willing to or want to take charges. So it's either one or the others. Most teams don't have either one of those guys. They just have someone that's 6'8" to 6'9" that can knock down threes, and they want to kind of try to change the pace up with that. The Suns having Rasheer to be able to man some of those small ball lineup minutes changes a lot. Because for one, he's knocking down his shots on the other end, and that's something that teams continue to make decisions to help off of. And he just says, okay, cool, I'm going to go ahead and make this shot and then make another one and then make another one to the point of tonight. But I think being able to pair that with the rim protection, as well as being able to switch out onto guys on the perimeter, but also just outright guard at points of attack against guys, very, very good and very underrated in terms of his demeanor and the kind of disposition he has and the impact that comes with that over the course of games.
When you add in his wingspan, though, is it fair to call it small ball? Because, I mean, that man, that man's
fair.
big, regardless of height, when you look at how much he can get up there.
I mean, and you saw it with the steal, too.
I mean, we
the
saw
steal
it
was
when
crazy.
he was tying his shoes, and he didn't have to bend over too much.
I mean, he can be a game wrecker for the Suns, and I really enjoyed what Jesse Mermes had to say when Amanda Pflugrad talked to him coming into the second half, where he said Rasheer has stopped thinking on defense. He's just started playing. And that is when I think everything we've really started to see click with him, where when you're thinking and you're maybe like a half a second behind, like you got those long arms, you might just foul somebody instead of going for the ball. But when you're going off of these instincts that it's clear that Rasheer Fleming has, he can completely change moments for this team. He could change games for this team. And again, we continue to see the steady progression, right? Like development isn't linear, but sometimes it's got a pretty steady path. And right now it feels like Rasheer is on this steady path of every single game doing something impressive, whether it was getting 16 points a couple of nights ago, whether it's tonight on the defensive end, well, not missing a three. This guy is the future for the Phoenix Suns, and you are seeing him kind of grow and blossom for this last month of the season. This, like you said, Gil, is going to be a moment that we look back on. We're like, yeah, these were the signs of the Phoenix Suns' power forward of the future.
And my last thought on him, we said it when he was shooting the ball so well. I was like, he's probably going to miss a couple, but how's he going to respond to missing a couple? And he kept shooting with confidence, went 3 of 3 tonight. And it's kind of funny. It's been like not making any or not missing any, but understanding that the norm or the mean for him moving forward will probably be somebody who's making threes at somewhere between 35 and 42%, and anything above 35, this team is loving, and anything above 37, 38 will be incredible. And I think that's realistic for him. So that's exciting to see the resolve.
I think he's one of those guys too. Once they get in a rhythm, that he's gonna get some of those lobs that there are times.
Yeah, he missed on a lob. Yeah, where he didn't dive and he jumped a little bit late. And we've seen him attack the rim a bit, not a ton, but
yeah, I'm waiting on him to catch a body. That's going to be.
He dunked on Jaren Jackson Jr. earlier this year. We need to see something else like that.
The baseline cut. Yeah. I'm wanting to see him on like a short roll situation. Power dribble and
and that'll come with more time of him getting a little bit more chemistry too, because again, this is not a guy that's been playing the entire season. He's really only been in the rotation post All-Star break. So really good stuff from Rasheer Fleming. Any final thoughts, guys, on an unfortunate loss for the Suns? A 36-point fourth quarter for the Raptors puts them up 122-115.
Flush it. Get ready. Get your mind right for Boston, because, again, you blew one you probably shouldn't have, and now you got to go find one that maybe people don't think you should win. So go out there and figure it out.
Respond. You got 2 days off in between now and Monday's game. Lick your wounds, get back to it. You're capable of doing it, and I'm expecting them to respond. And you owe the Celtics one too, by the way.
Don't lick your wounds. Put salt on them.
Oh,
no Usher, but let it burn. So that makes sure you keep your urgency up to the level that you need to. There you go. Good job. I'm proud of you. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you want to make sure you respond, because that team that's waiting on you over there in Boston, they got some things going well and in their favor right now. That's a buzzsaw to be meeting at this present moment. And they just got a little bit better than what they were the last time you saw them just a little bit over a week ago. So you have to come in and you have to bring your A game. You also have to bring your A game because it's another back-to-back for you. So you get 2 days off, and your reward for your 2 days off is a back-to-back with two teams that are very much in the thick of things in respect to each of their conferences.
Yeah, it's a big game on Monday, and it continues to be big games because the rest of the West is playing really well right now.
Yep.
Right now, at halftime, Minnesota's up 69-48 on Golden State.
Shove it, Golden State.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing, Golden State. Houston, Kevin Durant, game winner, puts away the New Orleans Pelicans 107-105.
Pelicans sold.
Yeah, currently the Clippers are also up 2 points on the Bulls, but that's just about to go to halftime. Every single game matters at this point. Losing really stings in general, but losing now until the end of the season is going to sting a whole lot more. The good part is you got a lot of games to respond, and we'll be here for every single one of them. Pre-game, watch-along, post-game shows, plus for our audio friends, we got some stuff coming for you over the weekend. So if you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed to our audio feeds on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you go subscribe because we drop some audio-only stuff over there as well. And if you are listening on audio, thank you. Drop a 5-star review. Hit the like button if you're here with us. Hit that subscribe button as well. You can follow the show in the meantime for injury updates and everything in between at PHNX_Suns. You can follow the Freckled Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with a PH. You can follow Espo at Espo. You can follow Gil at GilMcGregor_. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back against Boston on Monday for a 10 on the Suns must-win meter.
Oh.